It was like a sermon that I cannot unpreach. I am super proud and know things will never be the same. That was a response from a friend of mine when I asked how her presentation to a governing board of an organization she had went. When I read this, I thought it captures very nicely my reaction to this week's gospel. I asked her, and she said I could quote it in my sermon. You see, I have a strong aversion to irreversible decisions. I never want to say or do things that change things in a way that cannot be undone. It seems like this is exactly what my friend went through and what this passage in the gospel today talks about. When Jesus was told there were some Greeks who wanted to see him, he replied, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified." This strikes me as an odd reply, not really requesting the request, not really addressing the request of the Greeks. It seems to reflect the passage in Luke 9, where we hear about Jesus setting his face to Jerusalem. Jesus knows what is in store for him, and his soul is troubled. In Jesus' case, he is facing his suffering and death. And we all face, at various times and in various ways in our own lives, difficult decisions. Decisions that may be irrevocable. Decisions that may cause us pain, even though they are for the best. Jesus, in this passage, is calling us to these decisions. He speaks about grain needing to be buried to yield more grain, and about our need to lose our lives for Christ's sake to gain eternal life. Yet I wonder, how often are we really faced with these grand, irrevocable decisions? If you're like me, you probably rarely have opportunities to make such bold statements that will change the course for everyone involved. Maybe more accurately, you and I may rarely be aware of having such opportunities. This is where I think the gospel message is too often missed in our daily lives. I once had a professor who said, "A kiss is a decision." In many ways, it's an irrevocable decision that changes the course of lives. In fact, our daily lives are made up of an unending series of little decisions that, when taken together, can have a profound impact on our lives and the lives of those around us. Robert Kennedy put this in grand terms in his famous Ripple of Hope speech. Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy, and daring those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Looking at it in a less grand and more immediate scale, what what if each time we saw somebody, we made the decision to smile? What if each time we saw someone, we showed just a little extra kindness? What if each time we saw someone, we experienced some of the joy that God takes in each one of us? What if each time we saw someone, we looked at them with God's eyes of love? If we started this, we could sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. We could be super proud and know that things will never be the same. You see, every moment to smile, to frown, to bless, to curse is an irrevocable decision. It changes the lives of those we interact with, and it changes our lives. This brings us back to the Greeks at the beginning of the Gospel. Some commentators have suggested that the appearance of the Greeks represents the expansion of Jesus' ministry to the Gentiles. This expansion, they say, represents a threat to the authorities, to which the authorities must respond with violence. Yet a different reading focuses on the phrase, "we wish to see Jesus." If we really wish to see Jesus, we will look toward sacrificial love in the big things and in the little things. We will look to each moment when we choose to smile instead of frown, when we choose to bless instead of to curse. We will look at challenging the forces of oppression with love. As Henri Frederick Amiel put it, and is often used in A Blessing, life is short. We do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who walk this way with us. So be swift to love and make haste